guys, it's Belfast Whispers here, back once again to bring you another ASMR video. And in today's video, I am going to be colouring the flag of Brazil, which you can see right here. Now, the flag of Brazil is one of the most recognizable flags internationally. It is very bright in nature, and we are going to be putting a sticker of the flag in the space right here. But as you can see from the outline, we have green, we have yellow, and we have blue for the globe section, and we also have some green lettering to write in that crosses over the globe in the center section. Now inside the circular globe we also have a number of white stars. So as I say, this flag is one of the most recognizable internationally, and I think a lot of people could name that flag if they were asked to do so. It is very unique and very colourful. And if we just look below the flag here, we have a small bit of information on it, and it says the emblem represents the night sky over Brazil, while the motto says order and progress in Portuguese, a language spoken in the country. Which is quite interesting, because if we look at the map of South America, we have Brazil right here, which is of course the largest country in the continent, and they speak Portuguese here, as we are told in this bit of information. But interesting enough, most of the other countries in South America actually speak Spanish as their national language. I think Brazil is the only one that speaks Portuguese, so that is a little bit of trivia there for you. So I think first of all what I'm going to do is I'm going to locate the sticker at the back of the book and stick it in here before I progress with the colouring segment. So let's just flick to the back of our book and locate the flag of Brazil so that we can stick it into the corresponding spot for the flag. So we have found the sticker here, so let's remove it as carefully as we can. And there we go. So if we now turn back to the page we need, which is right here, and I'll just slide the book over slightly. So let's get our sticker into the spot for Brazil as neatly as we possibly can, trying to line the lines up. Almost had an accident there. So let's line these lines up as best we can. And I think that is quite neat. So we can take a better look at the flag of Brazil now. As you can see, it is a very deep shade of green and yellow, blue, and more green for the text across the banner on the globe. So let's just zoom our camera in ever so slightly so we can get a better look of the flag. Okay, and I will just slide it over ever so slightly. Okay, so the pencils I'm going to be using today It's okay as long as we get the right colors in the right sections. I think we will be satisfied with that. So we will begin with the green section, and I'm going to start in this corner, and I think I will do it diagonally like this. I think that would be the easiest way to do this. So let's begin in this corner. And of course, we have to do our very best to keep within the lines. And additionally, we have to attempt to make it as smooth as possible. We don't want to have any sections of our flag that look darker than others, so that is an extra sort of obstacle we need to overcome when coloring in with these coloring pencils. So I'm just doing it very lightly to begin with, because doing it like that I can always go over sections of the flag later and darken them down. I've always been a fan of the flag of Brazil ever since I first seen it when I was young. I just thought it was very appealing on the eye, very different to a lot of other flags out there that exist. I think it's very unique in nature. I'm a big fan of color, which I know sounds funny, but I just love a deep mix of different colors. I'm not really a fan of flags that only contain one or two colors and in a sort of bland design. So you get certain flags that might be just simply split in half, and one half is one color and the other half is another. And a lot of the time, these flags tend to have white as one of their colors. So I do really like to see different colors used in flags. So now I'm just coming up to the line here, being very careful not to cross it. I think that's blended together quite nicely there. I think I probably will go over this again towards the end and sort of darken it down a little bit. Although I do think it looks well with this lighter shade. It sort of gives you a mixture between two different shades. We have the darker shade here on the flag sticker, and then my colored in version, which is a slightly lighter shade. But I think I quite like that. And of course, when you do see flags, they're not all going to be identical in shade. You are going to see some that look slightly slightly darker or slightly lighter than other versions. But I think I'm quite happy with this shade. It's quite nice. It's kind of a, I guess you could say it's a relaxed shade for a relaxed video. I do find colouring in very relaxing. I think from starting this channel on YouTube, it's kind of opened me up to new activities that I wouldn't have previously done, and colouring is one of them. But I am finding that as I make these videos, I am very much enjoying making them, which is obviously important to enjoy what you're doing. If I wasn't enjoying making these type of videos, there really wouldn't be much point in doing it. I mean, obviously, the main objective from the channel is to help people to relax. But at the same time, if I'm not enjoying making the videos, then that's really no good. I have to be getting something out of it as well, so that everybody kind of wins. And so far, I am very much enjoying making these ASMR videos for you guys, and I hope that you are enjoying them as well. So we have just slightly changed direction there, but I don't think that it's too noticeable. So I think we're okay. As long as we continue to go quite light, we shouldn't have an issue. And now we are towards the bottom of our flag, so we need to take extra care to make sure that we don't cross these lines. But I think if we did make an error, it's probably possible to get an eraser and use it to erase our error, but I think we're okay for now. I think it's coming together quite well. So we have the first half of the flag complete, and I will just work our way up the other side now, trying to blend it in here. this series, feel free to post in the comments section below and let me know, and I can see what I can do for you, because the channel is all about the viewers. If there's no viewers, there's no channel, so I am happy to listen to some of your requests and see if I can create videos based on some of those requests. Obviously, my channel is very young, it's very early days, but I am enjoying it, and I hope to grow my audience as we progress. I know my videos are quite kind of basic in nature, but sometimes going back to basics can be enjoyable. And I think at the end of the day, if something is relaxing, it doesn't really matter if it's kind of a flashy, high-tech kind of video, or if it is more basic in nature. Really, what we strive is to find something that we find relaxing. And if that is my channel, then I appreciate your company. So we are now coming up to the last part of the green section of our flag of Brazil. And once again, I'm just going to change direction as subtly as I can to avoid any harsh strokes. We're just going to go very gently here and up this side as well, being very careful as always not to cross the line, because that would be an absolute disaster. Try to darken down some of these lighter sections here, but I guess we can come back to that towards the end. Let's just complete this green section first, and then we can go over certain parts when we are finished. So we are nearly complete the green section. I'm just going to turn my pencil this way. section of the flag of Brazil. I'm quite satisfied with how it's turned out. And now I'm going to bring in our yellow colouring pencil. And I'm going to be doing this section of the flag here. And after that we will move on to our blue globe section. So I'm just going to start in this corner and work my way up this side with our bright yellow pencil. I always think that green and yellow really go well together. I do love certain color combinations, but I think my favorite color combination out of any is black and blue. I think when something is predominantly black with a blue trim, I think they really complement each other well. And we are just going to come around this side now. And I think it's always easier to colour up a straight edge of an object. So that's what I'm trying to do here, instead of trying to twist into an unnatural shape. So that there was quite straightforward. And I suppose the same goes for a curved edge, but it all depends on what hand you use to write or colour with. So now we are moving up this side and doing so as neatly as we can. And I think our flag is starting to come together quite nicely. But I think what I will do for some future videos in this series is I may look to use different forms of colouring items. So I may look to get some pens, some sort of fine tip colouring pens. I have some, but I'm not sure that they would be ideal for certain flags, and I think they are permanent, so they may leak through the page, but I will have to have a look and see if there is an alternative to pencils, just so that we have a variety of different flags coloured in with different tools. But I think these pencils work quite well. They give it a sort of faded look. It's very light and relaxing on the eye. I think that is the yellow section just about complete. We will just fill in some of the lighter parts center. But we will move on and we will now do the blue section of our globe, which is going to be the most tricky because all of these little individual stars are white in color. So we are going to have to be extra careful not to color over them, and I will do my very best to avoid doing that. But for this top section we are okay because we only have the one star in this section. So we will begin by coloring that in before we move on to the trickier section. I think this blue is a bit more tricky to blend in. We're kind of getting some lines going different directions, but I'm going to do my best to just to curve it so that we have a slight curvature in the color that matches the shape of the globe. So this part is going to be quite tricky. I'm not sure these pencils are quite suited for how delicate you need to be, but I'm going to lean very lightly and try to navigate my way around the star. I don't think that turned out too badly. But of course, that is just the beginning, as we have many more stars to navigate. But I think that section turned out just fine. Let's just try to darken it down slightly in certain parts. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. So now we're going to move on to the most tricky section, and I'm going to start at the bottom here, and I'm basically going to attempt to fill in the parts that have the most space, and then we will move on and look to navigate our way around these stars. But this part is going to be very tricky. But what is life without its little challenges? I think it would be very boring if we didn't have anything to challenge us. And we don't need to get right close next to the stars if we can just get close enough so that it looks well. I will be satisfied with that. the spaces as best I can. And then we can come back to the more tricky stars. There are a lot of stars in this corner section, so that's going to be tricky. And we have one tiny star here at the bottom. So I'm just going to go around. I think that's about as close as I'm going to get to it. But that looks well, I think. So let's continue with this section here, which has more space. And as you can see, some of the stars are quite big compared to others. I'm not exactly sure what the stars stand for, but I think it could be the states or the regions of Brazil, similar to the United States, which I believe has 50 stars on its flag, which represent the 50 states in the country. So quite possibly these stars on the Brazil flag represent certain regions or states of the country. I will have to look that up. So I think it's coming together quite well. It's not as difficult to navigate around the stars as I previously thought it might be. It's not turning out to be too bad at all, I think. Quite satisfied so far. Yeah, I think that looks well. But I think I would prefer if this blue was a deeper shade. I think it's coming together quite well. As we move on to the most tricky section of the stars, which is this bottom corner. But we are moving towards the completion of our flag of Brazil. Just this tricky section to navigate, and we are done. And it's actually been easier than I thought it would be. I anticipated that the star section of this flag would take much longer than it has done. So maybe I underestimated myself slightly. Maybe I am more artistic than I know, or give myself credit for. as it is just colouring in at the end of the day. But I am enjoying doing this, and dare I say, I even feel a little bit sleepy at this stage, which is quite funny. But I am enjoying colouring in this flag of Brazil. It's very relaxing. And I think I am almost complete for that section of the flag. And that means that we only have one part of the flag left to do. And it is the text that goes across the banner here. And I was going to use a felt marker for it, but I think I'm just going to use the green pencil and go over the text very gently. Like so. And this part is particularly delicate, so taking a bit of extra care in doing so. But in general, I'm very pleased with the outcome of our flag here today. And we just have one more word to do. So we have Ordem e Progresso, which, as we read earlier, stands for order and progress. I think Brazil is a really beautiful country. I remember watching the one before the last World Cup, which was held in Brazil, and you got to see some amazing sights of the country in different cities. It really is a beautiful place, and maybe one day I will be lucky enough to visit Brazil. I actually have a friend who lives in Peru, which, if I just slide the map over, we can see right here. So we have Brazil here, and we have Peru here, and my friend lives in a place around about here, which is called Arequipa, and he is originally from Peru, and he lived here in Northern Ireland for many years, and that is how I met him. But he did go back to Peru to live around about 4 years ago. So we still regularly chat on Skype and Facebook, etc. But I think that is our flag of Brazil completed, and I'm quite happy with my efforts there. I only have one section left to do, and it is the pole section. So I will just move our map up slightly, and we can begin doing our pole section, which should be very quick. And I'm just going to do it in this standard grey colour. You could, of course, do the pole any colour you really wished, and in future flags I may mix it up and try out other colours, because really there's no reason not to. We can make the pole any colour we desire. It doesn't have to reflect a realistic flagpole. just working our way down to the bottom of the bowl. And there we have it, guys. We are complete for the flag of Brazil. I think it turned out quite well. I'm very pleased with my efforts there, particularly with the tricky globe section, navigating around those tiny stars was quite tricky, but it turned out quite well, I think, and I'm very happy with my efforts there. But anyway, guys, I think that will do for today's video. But thank you for joining me for this flag coloring video. I appreciate your company. If you did like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up down below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you will get notified when my upcoming videos go live on the channel. But as always, rest easy, sleep well, and I will see you all very soon on the next video.